Hey guys, happy Wednesday. So today we're going to talk about factoring quadratics. You guys know the deal. Make sure you guys copy down that title. Now the objective for today. So last unit I taught you guys how to multiply a binomial. So over here, a binomial times a binomial. And we ended up with something that looked like the following: a trinomial x squared plus 2x minus 8. And we were using the Punnett square. Now our objective for today is to go backwards. If I give you guys that x squared plus 2x minus 8, can you guys go in the opposite direction? Can you guys go backwards and figure out what were the two original binomials? Now, what we're going to have to use today is the Punnett square. Okay, so what I want you guys to do, okay, before we begin, I want you guys to try out, please make sure you multiply this binomial times this binomial and use the Punnett square. I know some of you guys like double distribution, but I'm going to ask you guys to please try out the Punnett square because it's going to be very, very useful understanding where things go. So take a second, pause the video here, and then hit resume. Alright guys, so here's what you should have gotten for the first one on the left. Again, x plus 4 goes up top, x minus 1 goes down on the side here. And again, you could switch those around, right? It doesn't make a big difference. But the things that I want you to notice from these two problems is, number one, is the first box here. Well, x times x will always get you an x to the second power, and that's going to become very, very important in a second. Also, where does this minus 4 come from at the very end of our answer? That always comes from multiplying the last and the last of each binomial. Okay, and then how do we get this part in the middle? That's a nice combination of these diagonals here. We normally combine those diagonals and it'll give us our middle term. Same thing happens over here. Why are we getting x squared? That's a x times an x. That's the reason we get that. How do we get the minus 10 at the very end? Well, that was a product of the 2 times the negative 5. We have to multiply those last two at the very end. And again, when we combine our like terms, this diagonal here, this is the nice thing, it gives us, again, our middle term. So because we're multiplying x times x, we get this x to the second every single time, x times x to the second. This is what we call a quadratic, and it's called the quadratic expression because, of course, there's no equal sign. It's a polynomial, so again, three terms here, a trinomial specifically, whose highest power is a 2. So the highest power that I have here is x to the second power. That's what we call a quadratic. Okay, an example here is x squared plus 3x minus 4. Again, power of 2 is the highest power. It's called a quadratic. Okay. X squared, again, it's called a quadratic. Now, how the heck do we get a quadratic? A quadratic comes about because we multiply two binomials together, and that's our job today. How the heck do I go backwards and figure out what were those two binomials that created it? Well, we're going to have to use the Punnett square. Okay, so first of all, here's my trinomial. Now, I know that I get these x squared from the very, very first box. So I want to make sure I'm going to fill in the Punnett square in reverse here. So x squared goes in the very first box. Now the other nice one that I always know is this last minus 35. Where do we get that? That comes from the very, very last box. Now, the one that's kind of the hardest, trickiest one is these diagonals here. When I combine them, they should give me this middle term of 2x. Now it's just a matter of working backwards. How the heck can I figure out what goes in each one of these spots? So let's figure out. Let's see, use a different color here. How am I going to get an x squared? What times what will give me an x squared? That's nice. That's an x times an x will give you x to the second power. Okay, we got that so far. Now, what times what is going to give me negative 35? Well, there's several combinations for negative 35, and this is where it gets a little tricky. Negative 35, I can do 7 times negative 5, or I can do negative 7 times a positive 5. I can also do 1 times negative 35, or negative 1 and positive 35. Okay, those are all my combinations. Now, this is where students get frustrated because they don't get it on the very first try, and it's fine. This is kind of like a guess and check until we get it right. Now, I'm just going to pick the very first one, 7 and a minus 5. Okay, I'm going to say, hey, positive 7 here and a negative 5 over here. Well, 7 times negative 5 gives me negative 35. Okay, so far everything's checking out. The last thing I need to fix is these diagonals better give me that positive 2x. So let's go here. 7 times x is 7x. This is the way we're going to check it. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Well, what are 7x's minus 5x's? Does that give me what I needed? That does. 7x's minus 5x's gives me a positive 2x. Everything's checking out. So I actually worked my way backwards and I figured out my two binomials. What are my two factors? Remember that keyword factors. What are the two things that multiply to give me x squared plus 2x minus 35? Well, that was x plus 7 that runs across the top, and then x minus 5 that's running on the side here. Those are our two factors. Now again, the key word here is factors. What were the two things that multiplied to give me that quadratic? All right, what I want you guys to do, pause the video here, take a second, and we'll go through it. Alright, so this is what we should have set up, right? Our Punnett square, I put the very first term in the first box, the last term in the last box. Now again, this is the easy one here. What times what gives me x squared? Well, that's going to be a 1x times a 1x. Okay, now how do I get this last piece? What times what will give me the 4? Now again, what are factors of 4? I can do 2 times 2. I can also do a negative 2 times a negative 2. I can do a 1 times a 4, or I can do a negative 1 times a negative 4. And again, yes, we do have to test all these out. Now, if we don't get it on the first try, it's okay. Breathe, breathe, breathe. We'll just have to move on to the next combination. So let's go ahead with the first one. Positive 2 and a positive 2. Well, they both multiply to give me 4, which is nice. Now, I just have to make sure that my diagonals, my like terms that pop up right here, better give me my middle term of 4x. Well, 2 times x is positive 2x. X times the 2 will also give me a positive 2x. What's 2x plus 2x? That gives us 4x. Everything's checking out. So my two factors are x plus 2 and x plus 2. Now again, guys, don't get frustrated if you do not get it on this very first try. Move on to the next option. If that doesn't work, move on to the next option. All right. So I want you guys to take a second. Please, please, please pick one of these. All right, and then hit resume when you're ready. Alright guys, so I've set up my work here. So again, for standard met, I know x squared goes, again, my first term goes in the first box, my last term goes in the last box, and again, my two like terms in the middle here should add up to give me that positive 5x, add or subtract depending on your signs, of course. Now again, let's fill in this first easy peasy part right here. X times x will give us x squared. Now, for factors of 6, well, here are my options. 2 times 3. I can also do negative 2 times negative 3, negative 1 times negative 6, and 1 times 6. Now, I'm gonna go with the first one. Okay, positive 2 and a positive 3. And again, if it does not work, don't stress, guys. Move on to the next option. So here we have 2 times x, which gives me 2x. X times 3 is 3x. That's perfect. Let's see. Check this. 2x's and 3x's, do they combine to give me 5x's? Absolutely do. So when they asked me to factor, I broke it apart. What are my two factors? What were the two binomials that multiplied? X plus 2 and x plus 3. So there we have it. That is factored form. We've broken apart that quadratic. Okay, let's move on over here. Same deal. First term goes in the first box. Negative 45 goes in the last box. Now this is a little harder because negative 45, look at that. Look at all our options. So are we going to get it on the first try? Maybe, maybe not. So let's go ahead. X times x will give us x to the second power. Now again, negative 45, what are all my options? What are all my combinations? So again, I'm going to show you guys what happens if, let's say I picked this one. Let's say I picked 9 and negative 5. So let's put positive 9 and negative 5, squeeze that in there. What's 9 times x? That is 9x. What is x times negative 5? That's negative 5x. Now be careful here. 9x's minus 5x's is positive 4, and I need a negative 4, so that's not working out for me. So, oh my god, the world's going to end. No. That's just probably not our right combination. That's probably not going to work. But I got close. I got a positive, okay. I got a positive 4. I need a negative 4. So how the heck maybe am I going to get a negative 4? Well, maybe what if I would have picked the very first option? Why not? Let's check it out. What if I had picked negative 9 and positive 5? Well, negative 9 times x is negative 9x. X times 5 is 5x's. 5x's minus 9x's. If I combine those guys, it gives me negative 4. Is that what I need? Yup, that was absolutely correct. I needed a negative 4. So again, don't panic, guys. If it doesn't work out on the first option, you got other ones. Just, again, switch your signs or maybe try a different combination. So what are my factors when I break this quadratic apart? What are my two binomials? My two factors here are going to be x minus 9 and x plus 5. There we have it. There we have it, my two factors. Alright, same deal, guys. Again, this honestly just takes practice. Again, I'm being straightforward with you guys. It takes practice. Take a second, pause it here. Please, please, please pick one of these two and try it out. Alright, guys, so again, I've set up my problem, everything in the right spot, right? Again, x squared, my first term in the first box, last term in the last box. Now again, x times x, easy peasy. X times x gives us x to the second power. Okay, now again, what two things multiply to give me 32, and when I combine my like terms diagonally, also give me that positive 12x. Now again, I listed my options here. I'm going to go with the first one. Why not? Positive 4 and positive 8. It's all right. Let's see. Let's check it. So 4 times 8 does give us 32. What's 4 times x? That's 4x. What is 8 times x? That's 8x's. Now again, check your like terms. 4x's and 8x's. Combine them, they do absolutely give me 12. So when I factor this quadratic, what are my two factors? It's going to be x plus 4 across the top, and then coming down is the x plus 8. So there we have it. Got it on the first try. I got lucky there. All right, let's move on to the next one, beyond standard. So again, same deal. X to the second power, first box, the last term goes at the very, very end. Now notice this is in standard form, so if it's ever jumbled up, you got to rearrange it before you put it into the Punnett square. All right, x times x, I know that gives me x to the second power. Okay, now again, I wrote my combinations for 21. I'm going to go ahead and pick the first one. 7 times 3, positive 7, positive 3. 7 times 3 will absolutely give me 21. Now let's check that these my like terms in the middle here combine to give me negative 10. Well, 7 times x, 7x. X times 3 is 3x's. Now 3x's and 7x's, when I combine my like terms, they give me positive 10, and no, I got so close. I needed a negative 10, so no, I did not get it on the very first try. Okay, so close but no cookies. It's all right. Look, this is why we have erasers. Boom, 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 boom. Done. All right, let's move on. Let's try. That one didn't work. Why not the next one? Negative 7 and a negative 3. Well, a negative times a negative is a positive. 7 times 3 is 21. Hey, that works out. Okay, but now let's check if my diagonals here, my like terms. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. X times negative 3 is negative 3. Now, when I combine those guys, negative 7 and negative 3, my like terms, do they give me negative 10? Absolutely, they do give me my middle term. So good, we've factored it. My two factors, my two binomials are x minus 7 and x minus 3. And there we have it, my 2 factors. Alright guys, so there we have it. That's pretty much our objective today. So again, if I give you guys a quadratic, again, quadratic means that it's x to the second power. Okay, and I want to factor it. Again, factor means you want to break it apart into two original binomials that created it. Again, we have to use the Punnett square in reverse. So guys, here is your class activity. Again, I do want you guys practicing, so please, please, please try these out. Numbers 1 through 8. When you are done, please turn them into the inbox. Okay, if you have any questions, leave them on Google Classroom. Again, send me an email if you have anything. If you need further help, you can always YouTube it. There's really, really great videos. Now again, some of them teach it a slightly different way, so it's up to you. Alright guys, you guys know the deal. Please, please, please make sure you guys turn it in. Have a great, amazing day.